What is going on, friends? David Lee back with a pretty much brand new video. Makes sense, it's a brand new video. But from the title, I guess you can already assume that this is my version of the updated Sony A6500 review. As a filmmaker and commercial DP, I've been using the A6500 for almost a full year now. So why would you buy the Sony A6500? If you've been spending hours, weeks, months comparing the GH5, the Sony A6500, the Canon 5D Mark IV, maybe a Canon 1DX Mark II, the Sony A7S Mark II, so many different cameras out there. But if you could only pick one camera, is it the Sony A6500? Well, it could be. So in this video, that's what I'm going to present, is the reasons why I would buy the A6500, why I own the A6500, and why I use it for commercials, for films, for short films, and documentaries. So before I get myself into an accident somewhere, hopefully not, let's jump into why you would buy the Sony A6500. Well, let's talk about 4K, right? Because in this day and age, in 2017, we all need some type of 4K camera. And there's so many cameras out there that shoot 4K, including your cell phone. The image quality of the 4K on the Sony A6500 is pretty damn good. Take a look at some of these examples. So pretty good, not too bad 4K quality. One thing I have found myself doing when trying to buy a new camera is I compare like the image quality between this camera and that camera and then this camera over here. And it's hard to figure out exactly like which camera to get that has the best 4K for the price. In my opinion, when you're reviewing a camera, I don't think you're doing the camera justice unless you can use the camera for a while. While as in at least 6 months, I would say. I've had the A6500 for almost a full year now, and I've shot everything from a travel film to multiple commercials, documentaries, YouTube videos, tutorials, things like that. And I think that's where the Sony A6500 shines, is its versatility in a camera that can do pretty much anything you need it to do. I think if you honestly put the A6500 against the list of whatever it is you need the camera to do, I think you'll find that over 90% of those check marks will be crossed off, which is a very good thing for a camera that costs less than $1,500 just for the body. Now there are definitely some drawbacks to using the A6500. First off, as you probably just saw, rolling shutter is pretty bad. But I think regardless of what DSLR or mirrorless camera you're using, rolling shutter is pretty bad in general. There are some that are better than others. My Sony A7RII Mark II, rolling shutter is actually not that bad when using full frame mode. However, that camera and sensor combination is best used for the full quality in Super 35 or APS-C mode. So certain things you kind of have to sacrifice. I also wish that the Sony A6500 had a headphone jack. There's certain times and certain occasions where I can't have an external monitor attached, so it's nice to be able to just plug my headphones straight into the camera to monitor audio. I can't do that with the A6500, but I think it's honestly something that you can work around. Now, one thing you need to consider when purchasing the A6500 is the battery life. It's not good at all. These small little batteries can get you close to about 45 minutes in my experience if you're shooting full 4K. So take that into consideration if you have a professional job that you need to be there for 2, 3, 4 hours, maybe a whole day. I personally own 7 batteries that share between my A7R Mark II and my A6500. Another option that I have found to be even better, and it gives more ergonomics to the camera itself, is getting the battery grip. So here you can see I have the Mikey battery grip. This thing I bought off Amazon. It's pretty good. The only downside behind this is since the SD card is underneath it, you have to unlock this thing, remove it, so that way you can take the SD card out. Other than that though, it's something that I prefer because you don't have to keep swapping in and out of the batteries. You can just let one battery die and the other one will take over instantly. I definitely get more battery life out of shooting 1080p, and in my experience the 1080p is very, very clean, it's very crisp, very sharp. Sometimes it can be a little bit too sharp, so be okay with playing around with some of the sharpening features. You can go to +7, which is what I usually set it to when I'm shooting like 120 frames or 60 frames. But if you're shooting just 24p, 25p, you can play around with like +3, +4, +5. Now, autofocus is something that we all need in today's day and age. Doesn't matter if you're filming weddings, if you're filming commercials, talking head interviews, vlogs, right, anything. AF is really important to have, as there are just certain situations where you can't see your screen, such as with the interview, or right now since the A6500. One of the downsides of this camera is it doesn't have an articulating screen, which means I don't even know if I'm in focus, so I'm just hoping that the AF system is doing a good job at tracking my face. But with 425 phase detection points and 169 contrast detection points, the Sony A6500 can do great whether you're in low light or in regular conditions when it comes to tracking faces, tracking people, or objects. But before I just start blabbering on, let's look at a couple of examples. These are projects that I shot, commercials and other things that will give you a better idea of what the Sony A6500 can do when it comes to tracking. And I'm also going to put some stuff, I'm going to put this camera up against the Sony A7R Mark II and the Canon 1DX Mark II. So
laying in your bed, fighting ghosts in my head, wish that I could let you go. Remember all we had, how could we get this bad? Where did we lose our glow? You live, you learn, when your heart is set to burn, fading away until the light will return. Someone bring me back to the time when our hearts unite. Bring me back to the time when our hearts unite.
what do we have in the end of a 4K camera with a really good budget? Really good camera all around. That's the thing, it's an all around good camera. It's the worst place to be to try to record an audio helicopter. To record a review video, but I hope that throughout everything that we've covered in the video, from autofocus to image quality to portability, being able to travel light with the camera, that I hope it's brought you one step further to either purchasing the A6500 or not purchasing the A6500. I don't see myself selling this camera for a very long time, as its versatility is why I still hold on to it. I can take great time lapses, I can take still photography at events if I need to, I can use it for long interviews, whether that be in 1080 or in 4K. I can shoot 120 frames per second, not the best, but still works. So it's a beautiful camera, you know? Now, there are always pros and cons with any camera you buy, but for the price point, it's very hard to find a camera that can do everything the Sony A6500 can do. It's not the best camera. I don't think there is one camera, well, never mind. There is one camera I will say that is very, very good all around, but we'll leave that for a future review. Hope you guys found this video useful, this review useful in some ways. Hopefully entertaining as well too. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. I'll always answer them. Other than that, my name is David Lee. And remember friends, every day you have an opportunity to create your experience and to write your own story. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Laying in your bed, fighting ghosts in my head. Wish that I could let you go.